right here on Extra Shot. We're going to hit
goodness.
the 3 top, this is just one topic, the 3 top airline stories. We're going to start with pee on the plane. Dina, talk to us about that
Okay,
story.
so this story is going viral. A Kansas City woman essentially says that she was on a flight actually the same day that the Dr. Dow story happened.
Which is also weird to me. This situations happen, I guess, every day.
Yeah,
But now
and
it's
it was not
social.
only the same day, but it was also a United flight. So,
United.
Anyways, essentially what happens is this woman is on a plane. She says that she has an overactive bladder. She said that she needs to go to the bathroom. The flight attendants tell her no. And then as soon as they walk away, she's looking at her husband going, I really need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So she says, if you're not going to let me go, then I'm going to need a cup. And the flight attendants allegedly gave her a cup.
Okay, here you go, ma'am.
Yeah, so she goes to the bathroom in the cup in the middle of the seat, and she feels humiliated. She says, "This is not at all what I wanted this to be like. I'm humiliated. I'm offended." And then she said that the flight attendants, according to her account of the story, made her take those cups and go and throw them away. So she is clearly upset. She's very frustrated. She is sharing her story online.
Yeah.
And now the airline is saying, we've reached out to her. We want to try to make this right. She says on Facebook yesterday, they haven't reached out to me. I've tried to get a hold of them, and they're not responding. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to pull up her comment real quickly. But I know that there are a lot of airline stories that we're covering.
And where's Rob? Because
Rob Carlmark,
our resident,
he's going to mic up as he walks on. He was just on the
okay,
radio.
so Dina's going to get into the comments. So
yeah.
So again, the question is, once we hear from both sides, we'll get a better understanding. Yes. But in order to have, because airline cups are little. They're little. They're teeny tiny. So in order to have enough cups to the point where you're able to do that.
She said she filled 2. Nicole Harper is her name.
Somebody had to have given you the cup.
We all know those tests when you go to the doctor. They give you the cup because they're going to test your urine. This is not a urine sample. So go ahead.
This is the, hey, I want cranberry juice with my pretzels.
This is a cup, not a cup.
It's a cup. Okay, so this is the thing. And y'all know I love a good airline story. I love getting down to the nitty gritty. So, is it worth all of this? And I said this before, and I'm going to keep saying this. As a customer service company and in a customer service industry, we're now to the point where if you do something wrong, you're going to get put on blast. So, was it worth her having to do all of this versus, okay, just
was
use
it worth
the
it
bathroom?
for the airline?
Was it worth it for the airline? Now, I get if safety was an issue, but we have conflicting stories because she said what the airline said as far as the plane was descending. She was like, that's not the case. They were serving drinks.
Yeah, so she basically says that this happened in the middle of the flight while the flight attendants were out and about serving drinks, and that the pilot said that there was going to be some turbulence. So then she said that she needed to go to the bathroom real quickly. Apparently she was standing in line ready to go, and then her turn, it was almost her turn. And can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. It was almost her turn, and then that's when the pilot came on, and there was apparently going to be some turbulence, so then the flight attendant said, you'll need to sit down. Now, the airline says they were on their way down. They were descending. She says, no, they weren't. They were in the middle of drink service. And then her post that she actually put up 12 hours ago says that she was hoping that this would initiate some change in the way the airlines treat people in the future, just to Cornelia's point. And she says, United Airlines lied about reaching out to me. I attempted to reach them multiple times, and they lied about the incident happening during the descent. So she is, we haven't heard from them yet, but she is clearly saying, no, your story's wrong. This is what really happened.
He said, she said, or she said, she said. Rob Carlmark, I want to know what you say.
My whole point about these airline stories has been pretty consistent in that these situations are all a little bit different, but they fall into this gray area, which is the issues are arising when they say, this is the rule, follow the rules, and there's no ambiguity about this. And that's not the world that we live in. Of course, you can't open the door of the airplane mid-flight. That would be a disaster. We all understand that. But going to the bathroom when you have to go, you have an overactive bladder, trust me, these things pop up. And if you think, I would never do that, live your life 100% to the rules. I don't think anybody does that because situations come up. You may be sick. You may have a urinary tract infection. I don't know. Things happen in life where, you know what, I'm sorry, I know the rules. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And then it's at that point where the customer service representative, they need to have some wiggle room. We don't know their side of the story. Maybe they don't have any leeway in how they enforce the rules. Like, you know what? She's got to go.
Federal
We're gonna
rules
let her
say
go.
if the
Exactly.
seatbelt
Or explain it to
sign's
people.
on.
Hey, everyone, we're letting one more passenger use the restroom, but then that's it because of the turbulence or what have you. There's no explanation. They just come in like this. But then, and this is why these stories are taking on a life of their own. They talk about all this stuff. You had to go. Here's the rules. But then it was the cup incident. Then it was, we're going to call hazmat afterwards. This is her version of the story. We haven't heard the airline's version of the story. But there's all this aftermath of like someone not obeying the rules, and then it's people in power are then going to use the power to make it worse for that situation. We've seen that probably 4 or 5 airline stories in a row.
Right, and I've been pretty consistent in saying that these are the rules, these are the regulations.
Right.
I get that. We live in a world where it's like, gosh, sometimes life isn't, it shouldn't be so black and white, because there is that gray area. But if she had some sort of, what does she have? An infection?
She just said overactive bladder.
She has an overactive bladder. Then, I mean, Dina, you brought this up in just a conversation we had, and it made me think, well, then, yeah, should she be carrying some sort of note around, a doctor's note? Sorry about this.
It would not have changed the situation.
And how do you know that?
She would have said, here's my doctor's note. They would have said, sorry, these are my rules. Here's another thing. What if you have kids? Kids have to go to the bathroom when they have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I know they're trying to protect, because if it is turbulence, if you're in a bathroom, then they don't want to be
do
liable
it for
for a lawsuit. So that's the whole other part of the story. But
if you do it for one, you have to do it for everyone else. So what kind of disaster do you have when you're up in the air, or at this point? Yeah, I'm learning this information, just hot off the show. But okay, so then everyone starts standing in line when you're supposed to be sitting down. You can't unless everyone else has a doctor's note, which is very unlikely. If she had some sort of doctor's note, if she has an issue, then that's what you need to do, because otherwise you're taking that chance. Then you're going to have to go to the bathroom. Your bladder's going to overreact, whatever the term is, and there's going to be an issue. That's no one's problem but your own.
Well, so this is the question that I have. So is the discussion around abuse of power for a customer service representative? Because let's be honest, we've seen with our own eyes flight attendants bend rules for some people. Yeah. I've seen people be allowed to go to the bathroom. I've heard whispers, you know what, you can go just hurry up and come back.
Bring them cookies. What have I said in the past? You bring them cookies, bring them something, bribe them, and you'll get treated a better way. Is that right?
We've all seen it done. So I think it's consistency, and then the discussion of abuse of power, because sometimes it appears when things don't go in the direction that the flight attendant wants to go, then they enact this punishment, like I'll show you.
But how about the other side? If things don't go the way the passenger wants it, it's I'll show you. And
but wait,
that's the only recourse.
Kicked out the flight.
But it's the only recourse for the people. And not that I'm a flight attendant and I have stock in any flight.
Megan love her some rules,
I just
y'all.
love me some rules and regulations, and I'll hold myself accountable if go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have 2 other airline stories, which might go more to Cornelia's point.
Okay, there's a fight on a
before
flight.
that, though, hold on. Trisha says they should start a webpage like passenger shaming, maybe airline
they have
shaming.
Something like that. Instagram.
No, I know, airline shaming, she says. And then also, Nani on this particular story says it doesn't ring true. They let her go to they wouldn't let her go to the bathroom, but they would let her take the cups out and throw them away, which seems very interesting to me too at that point. But again, to Cornelia's point, is this a bigger problem of customer service in the air? What are other stories?
Still, according to flight, you want to stick on flights? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, the testy at the ticket counter. Is this your story?
Testy at the ticket counter. Okay, so let's dive in. Because I love this.
There's so many airline stories.
There's a fight.
That's what I was getting to. That's what I said. Yeah, flight with Southwest, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So there was a fight on a Southwest Airlines flight. You can see the video behind us right here. People clearly going in, like full out brawl, full out battle. Now, I'm not clear, was the flight attendant involved or did they break this up?
This seems like a really, I mean, the video's horrible, obviously, but there's so much we don't know about that story.
Yeah.
I read the article. They said we have no idea how the fight started or anything like that. So that becomes, we're going to overly speculate about that. But it just adds into one more thing.
Yeah.
The thing that will thread this story together and make it so why it makes sense while we're talking about it. Everything you do is on video these days.
Yeah, right.
Everyone's got their phones. Anything you do, good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to be on that video, and we're all gonna we all get to debate it on the internet, right?
I'm
That's what it's there for.
Flight fight, because I don't know what happened there, who started what, but I think in that story, what we were talking about at Morning Blend this morning is that the flight attendant was trying to get in there and help break it up, and then he or she got popped in the head, so then they fell on the floor. It's not funny, but it's like when you look at this and just go, there's no stopping that. That's like a fight out on the streets. Right. Like, do you stay away or do you try to do your job? Southwest coming out and saying, we think that all of our flight attendants are heroes at this point because they're just trying to do their best and to mitigate a situation that doesn't always come out right.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's pause just for 1 second. We like to criticize the after the fact how flight attendants handle certain situations. Look, it's a tough job because they're going to be dealing with that. They're going to be dealing with the passenger, this gray area. What do? I don't want to get in trouble myself. I don't want the airline to get sued.
Yeah.
You're in a different city every night. You know, usually, I used to live with a flight attendant and a pilot in Arizona.
Oh, really?
And I said, so, hey, where's your favorite cities to visit? And she goes, well, we only really visit the city by knowing which hotel they have because we get off the plane, we have to sleep for a certain amount of time, and then we're back on. So they judge the cities by which hotel they were able to stay at, which had the best amenities and things like that. I mean, it's tough. Some days you're on standby. You go to the airport and you wait there all day long to see if they need you or not. You get paid for it, but you're spending all day just waiting around to see if you get called. So it is a tough job. It is a tough job.
Okay, now Cornelia's story, the last airline story, I think will help to kind of round out the conversation a little bit.
Right, so we're dealing now with an issue where a gentleman had a flight. On his first flight out, he was charged $150 to check the bag. On his return flight, he was asked to pay $300 to check the bag. So when he had a discussion with the ticket agent about, you know, what the deal was and why is this the case, my other flight was $150 for the bag, now it's $300. The ticket agent got a little rude with him and testy, so he pulled his phone out and started to record. She got upset. It was a little back and forth about it, and then she canceled his ticket because she said, you can't record me. She was like, I don't give you authorization to record me. I don't agree with this. And this was clearly on tape. So in the article, he states that the airport police got involved. They came up and he asked, do I need to delete this video? Like, what's the deal? And then the airport police officer said, no, you can do whatever you want with it. It's a public space.
Right.
Right. And we run into that sometimes when we're covering airport stories, right? Holiday travel, things like that. There's some restrictions on where you park and where you can broadcast because you don't want to leave your car unattended. That is a law. That's a rule. We understand that for Homeland Security. But once you're in that open area, you can film and talk to people. There's no restrictions because it is a public place. It's the same as being on the sidewalk.
I don't know who this is, by the way, behind us.
Is that her?
This looks like this.
Okay, that was the agent.
It's a screenshot of the video.
She looks heated, okay?
She doesn't look happy.
We're going to assume that this is the gate agent that was being recorded and then canceled the gentleman's ticket. We don't know that for sure, but that's what it looks like the story is because that's where we found the story.
Right.
Which, by the way, the destination was San Francisco, so that's why that's where the story was picked up.
So the interesting part about this, though, is again the video. I think that so many people have access to their camera phones now, and even because your ticket is on your phone in most cases now. So you've constantly got your phone on, you've got your camera out. Is it the responsibility of all of us as passengers to be our own best advocate, and if we feel like we are being put in a situation that is not being handled correctly, to bring out the phone and start recording? Or is that putting us in a really dangerous spot where we are then constantly bashing these airlines for every little thing? I mean, I understand it's a customer service industry, and if you feel like you're being wronged, definitely take action if you need to, be your own advocate. But now I feel like it's getting overboard with the airline stories. I mean, everyone's trying to find a reason to become a viral sensation is kind of how I feel now.
Well, but I think then we walk a fine line, because let's say you don't want to be one of those people who are like, you know what, here's another phone, a video camera footage situation, but you really feel like you're being done wrong or done dirty. You know what I mean? So I think you just gotta let it play out. Yes, some people do abuse their authority, but people are over it, man. And it's the point. People are over it. So we're gonna see a wave of people recording. This happens again in every situation, because now we're having this with law enforcement. You know what I mean? So I think the whole idea of people feeling like people in authoritative positions are abusing their power, I think people are done, and people are trying to shut it down. So this is just gonna continue.
I mean, with all of these stories, something's gonna break soon. Like there's either gonna be a huge change coming down, you know, from Congress saying that there needs to be across the board, I don't care what airline you are, these are the new rules and regulations, because it is a customer service based network. But what are you gonna say?
See, okay, so I want to go big picture on this.
Okay.
This is why I think we're in this situation, okay? back in the day, there were a ton of airlines all competing, right? There are not that many airlines. And for some regional airports, in some cases, the airline runs like 80–90% of the flights out of there. So it's kind of funny, you know, at the end when they say, we know that you have lots of options, thank you for choosing us. In some cases, we're laughing because we don't really have a lot of options.
True.
So basically, that's it. So as there's been mergers, and every time they go up and plead their case that this is going to make flights cheaper, you'll have more options, we can streamline things and have a better customer experience with price and service, etc. I think we're at the point now where there's not that much that people can do about it, so they're taking to their phones, and wherever they have grievances, they're trying to just put it out in the public. Hey, I went through this, I'm irate, what do you think about this? Is there anybody else on my side on this? And I think that they're finding a lot of support for their personal issue that happened in the moment, but they're also learning more about the stuff that flight attendants have to deal with flights. I mean with the fights on the planes and everything else. So this is our moment in time where people are basically deciding that they've had enough, and we all get to talk about it. And I do think
breaking point.
I think at some point in the near future, this happened not too long ago with the 6 hours on the tarmac, no food, broken bathrooms. There were changes a couple years ago. I think we're moving in that direction because clearly people are not having it anymore.
Can I read Cheryl Hale's comment?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think this is something that we can all hear and probably relate to. Cheryl says, we have insurance for unexpected health issues. We have ambulances for unexpected emergencies. Clearly, we live in a world where there are emergencies and exceptions. We have to allow for those instances in the air, to Rob's point. Humans are not idiots, and all... Oh, sorry, it's starting to update here. She says, we can use wisdom. If a passenger is willing to plead and be apologetic about a physical need that can't wait, few people would begrudge her or him to use the bathroom. Have them sign a waiver. So again, emergencies happen, things happen. There are federal rules in place, but now the federal government is asking all of these airline CEOs to come talk to them because, and Congress is asking them, hey, let's come down to a better customer service policy, which might mean some of these federal regulations have got to go. Maybe they have to loosen up a little bit.
Well, the promise when a lot of these mergers happened was we will, of course, have regulations with the customer in mind. We will self-regulate. It's not going so great for a lot of these airlines. And you know what? And they don't want to be dealing with this either. They don't want to be in the headlines with some customer service grievance on social media. So I think that we're going in that direction. There's going to be some sort of look at all this. They've already called up the CEO of United to hear his side of the story and what's going to happen next. So I think things are already in motion. For politicians, this is an easy one. If everyone's mad about something, just pick up that issue and take the customer side and then try and at least hear out and meet a middle ground with the airlines, and then progress is made and people are happier.
Airline industry is a business at the end of the day, so until they see sales drop, which I don't know, I'm not tracking each one individually on the stock market, but until they see sales drop, any press is good press. I mean, people got to fly. What are the options?
I don't know.
But you know what? Here's another thing, too. That there are certain regulations in place that protect the airlines, keeping competition out. For example, there are foreign airlines that want to come in and say, we can do this way better. We've got a plan. We want to do this. They cannot do that. You have to be, if you want to serve within the United States, a U.S. destination to a U.S. destination, you have to be a U.S.-based airline. So there are things in place that prevent competition from coming in.